And a good morning, Birds Nation. Appreciate you streaming on in here on Birds 365. It is a waiting Wednesday. Yes, we must show the patience because the Super Bowl is still 11 days off. We got to do some waiting, but it will get here. It'll be the showdown between the Chiefs and the Eagles. Andy Reid against Nick Sirianni and Johnny Mack. That's why I want to start today with the Eagles head coach. You guys got a chance to talk to him yesterday. I heard his interview on WIP yesterday morning. It just is amazing that we are 2 years removed from the stuttering, didn't have the answers, introductory press conference of the Eagles head coach, where some people were ready to say, hey, we made a mistake. Let's move on before we actually have to
forget
live
that,
through
Jody.
this.
You were not supposed to bring that up. They all knew he was going to be great.
Not all, not everybody. But
On this
man,
show, we said give him a chance. I believe both
e-
of us.
exactly what we said. And you talk about a guy who's grown up on the job. It is just 2 years, and coming into this game, he certainly doesn't have the same experience in the biggest game of all that Andy Reid does, but he doesn't look too big for the moment. He doesn't look like
No.
this is going to, in any way, shape, or form, to be too big a task for him. Although he didn't really say anything, and he's gotten really good at that too. And that's an art
Huh.
into itself, saying something without saying something. He looks like he's very much up to the task.
Oh yeah, I mean, look, they have the best team in football. He's very comfortable in all these situations for one reason, Jody. He knows he's got the best team.
You think that's what it is? Huh?
Yes, he knows he has the best team. It's a very comforting feeling when you look up and down that locker room and you see all those players. I mean, I joked about it, and Miles Sanders said it before the season, the All Star team. And we kind of all snickered and we thought, oh, is this going to be the dream team quote? Well, they made a run at it with their 22 starters, 17 of them either Pro Bowl alternate, some of them all pro. And remember, that didn't include Chauncey Gardner Johnson and Dallas Goddard only because of injuries. So it would have spiked up to 19. Almost every single starter on this team got some kind of postseason accolade, and deservedly so. There's a couple you could say were underappreciated, guys like Isaac Seumalo, T.J. Edwards, um, but they received recognition as well. Uh, I've never seen a team like it. I was around. I say it all the time. The '98 Vikings. This team's better. That team was 15-1. Ultimately lost in the championship game, and Gary Anderson, the first perfect season, missed a big field goal. Otherwise, they would have. Who knows? Um, the Eagles Super Bowl team. This team's far more talented. Doesn't mean they're going to finish the job, but it's a better team than that team was. Uh, it's comforting. It's comforting.
But how much does that last game move the needle?
I mean, it moves the needle immensely. If they lose this game, that 2017 team will always be regarded as better than this team.
Right.
Always. They're not, but they will be regarded as such. Yeah, you got to finish it. That's just the way people are. I mean, if you don't win, like for years, I said that '98 Vikings team was the best team, one of the best teams ever. Probably the best Patriots team ever was the team that didn't win, the team that won 16-0 in the regular season, ultimately lost in the Super Bowl. They won all those titles. The best team didn't win. Their best team didn't win. Um, a lot of things have to align to win a Super Bowl. It's very difficult. But yeah, I mean, history will not record you as good as they are if they don't finish this. If they finish this, yeah, they'll be regarded as the best team in Eagles history. And I'm not going back to 1960. I'll say modern history.
Super Bowl era, yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but they got to finish it. They got to finish it. And They have the deeper and more talented team, and that's the reason they're favorite. People have kind of woken up to that and said, wait a minute, look at these rosters. And I think that's why, getting back to your original point, it's why he's so comfortable. He knows it.
Understood, and I agree the Eagles are favorite. By the way, it's 1.5 at almost every wagering outlet. Some places it opened up with Kansas City actually a half-point favorite. The line moved pretty quickly. It has gotten as high as 2, but it's sitting at 1.5 right now and has been steady that way for a good day and a half now. And I think it will stay very close, up to 3, down to 1. I do not think it's going to move much either way leading up to the game. That's favoritism, but it's not overt favoritism. This is not a bad Kansas City Chief team that they're going to be taking on in the Super Bowl, J-Mac. They, too, went 14-3, same as the Eagles. Had to work a little bit harder to get to the Super Bowl, but between you and I, they had a little bit of a tougher task. I would say the Jaguars were better than the Giants, and the Bengals were certainly better than the 49ers, or what showed up here and whined in Philadelphia in the NFC Championship game. So it's not like, why are we even playing this game? The Eagles are a better team. They're just matchup. Oh, no, this Kansas City Chief team's darn good, and it's 1.5 for a reason. These two teams are evenly matched. If you say they're not even, one's got to be ahead of the other. I'm with you. It's got to be Philadelphia. They've played better. The roster looked better. They've gotten the postseason accolades. But it's darn close between these two teams.
Oh, Kansas City's tremendous. I mean, I can't see enough good things about Andy Reid. I mean, we know his history in Philadelphia, right? If he beats, he's the all-time winningest coach in Eagles history. If he beats the Eagles in the Super Bowl, ironically, he will be the all-time winningest coach in Kansas City history. He's a top 5 coach of all time. So number one, you start with that. You know they're going to be prepared. We always we always knew about Andy here when he had the bye week, the extra week of preparation. I mean, he's always prepared. He's always got his team ready to go. And they have the best player in the world in Patrick Mahomes at the most important position. Thankfully for the Eagles, he's not 100%. He's not going to be 100%. But I mean, he's when you have Patrick Mahomes, you have a chance to win every game. And it was like Aaron Rodgers in his prime. I always describe how spoiled the Green Bay fans were. They thought they would win every game, and they had the right to think that way because that's the guy they had at quarterback. Now Kansas City's got that guy. So their fans are the same way. They expect to win every game. They think they're going to win every game, and they should think that way because that's how dominant Patrick Mahomes is. But they're a very top-heavy team. Their good players are really good. Chris Jones, really good player. Travis Kelce, really good player. But the Eagles are so deep and so strong everywhere. And, you know, Ed Kratz and I were putting together something with top 15 players in the Super Bowl, and you start to look at, you know, boy, I'm looking at these rosters, and it's like, all right, Kansas City's tremendous at the top, and then it's like Eagles, just so deep. And that's, you know, but if you got the home run hitter and the home run hitter has a big day,
yeah,
you're in trouble.
Want to give you a stat that I saw from my buddy Bob Vitrone Jr., who everyone should follow on Twitter at Boop Stats. If you've heard him before with me on WIP, he's going on with Big Daddy all the time. He's one of the best stat crunchers around, not just Philadelphia, but nationally as well, in my opinion. He put out a great stat for Eagle fans. And, oh, by the way, Boop is a Chief fan. He's a Chiefs/Eagle fan. He's got an AFC team. He's got an NFC team, and he roots for them both. equally. So he's kind of
I love Boop stats. I love Bob, but yeah, I don't like the AFC NFC fans. I'm gonna say that right off
you
the
have to
top.
choose in
Yes, you
John
got to have
Mullen's
one
opinion.
favorite team. If you're a fan, you got to have one favorite team. That's
And your favorite team would be what, John?
I don't have a favorite team.
Oh, okay. No, wait. Didn't you just say you have to have a favorite team?
No, I said if you were a fan. You missed the first part. If you are a fan, you have to have one favorite team, in my opinion.
And my opinion is, for a guy who says he doesn't have a favorite team, I'm not sure you can sit in judgment of how someone else decides who they are a fan or fan of. But that's just my opinion. I'll give you the Boop stat that I no idea on, which kind of should buoy Eagle fans. You mentioned how good Andy Reid is on the bye. For his entire career, Andy Reid playing a team after a bye who hasn't come on a bye themselves is 28-3. That's unheard of, John. No one can be that good at anything with that big a sample size. 28-3 is like incomprehensible to be so good at something. But that is when Andy Reid's team is coming off a bye and the other team isn't. If you look at when Andy Reid's team is coming off a bye and the other team is coming off a bye as well, Andy's only 2-3. And that includes a Super Bowl win
5 times.
That's Super Bowl loss. It happened twice, weirdly, in the regular season against, believe it or not, the Atlanta Falcons. When Andy was here in Philadelphia 2 years in the 8th week of the season, not only was it the same team, not only was the other team on a bye in front of them the same week they were, it was the same exact team. It was the Falcons in week 8. And they split those 2 games. And Andy, of course, has lost twice in the Super Bowl and won only once. So when the other team also has a bye, Andy's only 2-3. That's not near as good as 28-3, which is immeasurable. You just can't even contemplate how good you can be at something. And Andy Reid has done that. But, oh, by the way, the Eagles are coming off the bye. So he's actually below 500 in that.
I would say in that particular statistic, I would say the 28-3 is more important to me because it's the large sample size. You know, when you start talking about the Super Bowl, you start talking about great teams. So, you know, sometimes you're up against it in the Super Bowl. I'm talking about right now with the Eagles versus the Chiefs. The Eagles have the better personnel, the better roster, the better team. But what I'm saying, what that 28-3 tells you emphatically is Kansas City's going to be prepared. You might beat them, but they're going to be prepared. And that's to me the genius of Andy Reid, that as a coach, his team is always prepared, and you're not going to out prep them. And that's one of the strengths, at least from the Eagles' perspective, that they think they have typically. It's not going to be a strength here. They might be even. They might be just as prepared. But boy, I mean, his record is his record. You know, and if you go back to 2012, which is interesting because Nick was there and everybody thinks it goes one way, but Nick was in Kansas City. Nick's first professional job was in Kansas City. He met his wife there. He talked about that in his press conference. It's a very important city for him and very important organization for him, as well as Andy with Philadelphia. So it's so interesting, the storylines. But, you know, 2012, Nick's last year in Kansas City, and Andy came in 2013. Kansas City won 2 games. 2 games. Andy comes in, they win 11 games. That might be, forget about the Super Bowls, the playoff wins, that's unbelievable. To go from 2 to 11 in 1 year. You know, they started making better decisions, better organization, better coaching staff. But he's been in Kansas City 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years now. They've won 10 games or more 9 of those years. The 1 year they didn't, they were 9-7. I mean, the consistency, I talk about at quarterback, that to me defines, I would say Peyton Manning is the best regular season quarterback of all time because of the consistency of his teams. Just when he started rolling, double digit wins, on and on and on and on. Same thing with coaching. Andy Reid's amazing.
10 seasons, no losing seasons. That speaks for itself. That's just tremendous consistency, as you say, and that's why he probably is a top 5 coach of all time. So the Eagles have their work cut out for him. Nick Sirianni's got his work cut out for him. He's going up against an all-timer who we know pretty damn well here in Philadelphia. I liked what I heard out of Nick yesterday. Again, I would have loved to have a little nugget I could sink my teeth into, maybe a piece of game plan, what they see about Kansas City and where there might be an up. No, he wasn't going to give you any of that. He wasn't going to give out any bulletin board material. He's become pretty suave in just 2 years on the job here in Philadelphia. He's John McMullen. I'm Jody McDonald. That makes this Mac and Mac, Birds 365. We got 2 good guests coming your way today. Diehard Philadelphians. One would be Martin Frank. He's going to jump in about 4 or 5 minutes from now. And then hour number 2, our boy Rob Ellis from Sports Take here on the JAKIB Media YouTube channel is also going to give us his Eagle insight. Mac and Mac Birds 360.